Hey yo, good evening everyone, this is Rivero, and we are starting a new game called Tiny Bunny. This is a scary game, and I personally hate scary things. I hate horror movies, I hate scary games, I hate horror games. But I guess each one of us in their life has the moment when you have to overcome your fears. Let's start. The wind clawed at my window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song waved from all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, sneery, twinned in the air. They were shouting and laughing and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting low shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot in its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of lights and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12, after all. Still. There was a fox. Episode 1. The owl will arrive.
Убери книгу немедленно.
Hey, put away your book.
Сколько раз говорила, не читай за столом, вредно. Сидишь, сутулился весь.
How many times I have told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slugged you are. So we can hide the book. Okay. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan and Barbarian aside. I was stuck on a line. I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Olia had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was so enthusiastic. She almost looked like your typical girl from commercials.
Пока не съешь, из-за стола не встанешь.
You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in a plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy, unctuous, welded up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder and lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Coastal Odyssey. I love the show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is. Or how cold the Black Forest is at night. The spool fell out of my hand. Mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes.
Что я говорила?
What did I say?
Я достану.
I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before bottling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this? Carved on the other side of the table? Karina. Ha! That's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging differential like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar though. Should I remind her about it? No. She's been a bit of bad mood lately. I imagined her being my age, sitting under this table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or the sounds coming from the attic? Or the thick forest? I imagined my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed, where Oля sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice.
Тайга — особое место, дитятка.
Taiga is a special place, little girl.
Она к тебе присматривается, принюхивается.
It's watching you closely, sniffing you out,
Словно хочет понять, что ты за зверь такой.
trying to discern what kind of beast you are.
Понравишься, в беде не бросит.
If you are good sort, it won't abandon you in the times of trouble.
А будешь проказничать, схватит за бочок и утащит с собой под землю.
But if you are bad apple, it'll grab you by the side and drag you under the ground. By the way, for those who did not understand, this is a Russian game and the language they speak is Russian. So I'll have to translate it and write the subtitles for you to understand what's happening.
Тут и дело с концом.
And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. I waited for its time in the closet, patiently. It was black, upholstered with meat, colored material on the inside. I saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Only all of the photos were gone. Glass-covered pictures with grey faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead, but a watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Oля was done with her cookies, and she was looking at my chair like a shy woodland writer. I turned my gaze towards the frosted window. There were a lot of dark pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. The pattern of the frost formed on the picture on the glass.
Оля, гляди, лиса!
Oля, look, it's a fox.
Где?
Where? It looked almost like these optical illusions thingies they put on the back of the student notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under the certain angle,
Да не на улице, на стекле.
Not outside, on the window.
Смотри, вот нос, вот.
Look, here is the nose, and here is...
Ну-ка, доедай.
Hey, eat up.
Да, да, сейчас.
Yes, yes, just a moment.
Я ничего не вижу.
I don't see anything.
Живо. Совсем немного осталось.
Hurry up, there is not much left.
Вот. Но все равно не похоже.
Ah, there it is. But still, it doesn't look like one.
А я говорю, похоже.
And I'm telling you it does.
Не-а.
Mm-mm,
Похоже.
it does.
Прекратите. Ну что за дети?
Stop it, these kids, I swear. Now I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. The only frosty patterns similar to the scratched out nettle leaves kept creeping up the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long, measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Mom would always ask, jokingly, "Come on, shave it off. It stings." This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olia always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, "What's the point of all this?" through the wall. "It's all for your sake," Dad would reply. "For the sake of our family." I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. D-I-V-O. I don't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister would be torn apart and taken into two different families.
Да что твоя лиса? Вот у меня на окне сова.
Yeah, anyway, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window.
Опять ты со своей совой.
You and your owl talk again.
Так ты же вчера мне верил.
You said you believed me just yesterday.
Никто ключи от машины не видел?
Has anybody seen my car keys?
Вроде оставлял на подоконнике.
I remember leaving them on the windowsill.
Вроде.
Right.
Вроде оставлял. Вроде
Maybe you
нет.
did, and maybe not.
Вроде взрослый мужчина, отец двоих детей, а вроде...
You're a grown-up man, a father of two, and still...
Перестань, пожалуйста, Карина.
Karina, stop please.
Дай мне спокойно собраться.
Just let me get ready in peace.
В корзине твои ключи, возле телефона.
Your keys are in the basket, next to the phone.
Огромное тебе человеческое спасибо.
Well, thank you very much.
Антон, ешь быстрее, а то как мученик сидишь.
Anton, stop making a meteor out of yourself and finish eating already.
А сова?
But the owl...
Не было там никакой совы.
There was no owl.
Была.
But there was one.
Глазюки огромные. Во, и светятся.
It had giant, glowing eyes. Olia sprang up from the chair and placed her hand on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers, the size of an apple each.
В прошлом году бабай в шкафу. Сейчас сова?
Last year you had Babai in your closet. And now this owl? Okay, in this game we also have explanation of some words that you might not understand. Babai, in Slavic folklore, a nocturnal spirit used by parents to threaten their ill-behaving children.
Но я же видела.
But I saw it! Olia shifted her gaze back and forth from dad to mom to me, but couldn't find any support.
А ты не думала подружиться с ней, нет?
Have you thought about befriending it?
Вымышленными мышами покормить, например?
You know, like feeding it with imaginary mice?
Не подначивай ребенка.
Don't bully our girl.
Просто мала еще. И спать одна боится.
She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's little. She's still little. Olia pointed her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mom gave that a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just snorted in reply and left, ringing with the keys he just found. A minute have passed, and the theme song from The Little Mermaid ensured through the house. It was stored on an incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad already had to glue together once. It's so easy to fix objects, by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Good question. Mom moved to the living room, and I was left alone, anxiously, stealing a glance at the window. Olle had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to this house. She would toss and turn or crawl up into the ball under her blankets. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. And then Olia said she saw the giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Olia refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After last night, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? Can they? That night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect from my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of the new term. My imagination drew long, twisting hallways that led to the classroom full of kids. But all the students behind their desk was simply dark figures, cut out using the template. Circular holes gapped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat, dark silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive fear? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down? Stomp on me with their hooded shoes? Bloodied shoes. The damn school can bury for all I care. I just wished for anything to happen to it. Doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who are just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of a monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the wall. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olle begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. The small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number," or "Anton is not around." Anton is not around. I imagine my future classmates lying in their beds, just like me, listening to the holes, of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with the neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from a big family next door. Our current house, though I can't really call it a new, was completely different. It was silent and easy going during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet, cupboards, and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Sometimes was watching me from every corner. Something was watching me from every corner. Almost as if the old photos of my deceased family, with their ashes eye, were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaky, rusty drawings were moaning. The attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was in fact hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sound of the wind, of the creaking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that this music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone is playing it there. Amidst the cold, snowy night, right? Okay, let's open the blinds and look into the window. Someone was dancing in the field. Fox, wolf, bear, some sort of bird. Yeah. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with the dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in the moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around and crawled on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright, at times, circled around, holding hands and wiping up snow, disappearing into the shadows of a brief moment and then coming back. Sometimes bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music had stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place, and I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with the giant lips. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like the bird inside the cage. I shut my curtains with a swift motion and stepped back towards the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of the fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of the perfectly dark room and listened to some unwanted guests move and scrape around looking for an entrance. Uh-oh. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into the bed and covered myself with a blanket, as if it could protect me. The shackles of the fear locked my muscles. I remembered the funeral, my grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp, like that of a teen doll, and running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing up her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move aside their sockets, and she'll be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure, and now laying under the blanket and listening to the squeaks and owls, I was repeating the same
В
words.
буяне, в синем океане стоит домовина, в ней сало и глина, волосы седые, чертям еда, раба Божьего Антона не тронут никогда.
On the island of Buyan, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashes hair, for the spawn from the devil's lair, to feast and always leave alone God's painful servant named Anton.
Бесы забудут дорогу к дому.
Evil leave this house must.
Мертвый к мертвому, живой к живому.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hanged man. And then the night dosed me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched my eardrums. In reality, something or someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly crawling at the wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently, as if he was looking for someone.
Мертвое к мертвому,
Ashes to ashes,
живое к живому.
dust to dust. I had my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then the doorknob twisted slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tightened once more, and then it started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door cranked and opened. The wind downed me, moaning inside the thin drains. Now, you'll see. The door was wide open. The darkness breathed inside the carnivorous mouth of a doorway. To Sha. It was as if the night itself was calling me out on me, flapping its black wings and squeaking with rusty hinges. I was trembling, ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who waved it to come out of the gaping black hole. Oh, shut. My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me,
Ты спишь, Тоша?
Tosha, are you sleeping? My sister, pale face, protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief.
Оля?
Оля?
Я не сплю.
I'm not
Что
sleeping.
случилось?
Did something happen? Olia rounded and stuck out of her lower lip. A clear sign that she was about to cry.
Она опять прилетела и пялится на меня.
It's there again, staring at me.
Прогони ее, Тоша. Прогони, пожалуйста.
Show her away, Tosha, please.
Я так боюсь.
I'm so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olia down.
Это был сон, глупая. Не пугайся. Сны не кусаются. Никто тебя не обидит.
It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you. Olia snapped. She was trying her best to believe, but was I sure myself? Nah, this is a lot of pressure, honestly. Imagine yourself being in that position. I wouldn't want to live in that house. And I'm sure of that.
У меня есть идея.
I have an idea.
Пойдем к тебе в комнату, видик посмотрим. Спящую красавицу, например.
Let's go to your room and watch the video. Sleeping Beauty, for example.
Тебе же нравится этот мультик?
You like that cartoon, don't you?
Почему у спящей красавицы принца у меня эта страшная птица?
Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have a scary bird? That question took me by surprise.
Ладно, давай посмотрим Золушку.
Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled, oozy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing ferociously under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with the feast of lard and long ashen hair.
Тоша, ты идешь?
Tosha, are you coming?
Да, сейчас.
Yes, just a moment. What the hell? That was really unexpected. I'm not really emotional person. I don't know how to show my emotions, but trust me, I got scared. And more, I'm hearing this with my headphones. And this game is really nice from the first impression. It's a simple game, okay. You have just the slideshow and the text, but the music, the words, and the script is written really well till now. It keeps you in pressure. Honestly, I don't even understand what's happening, so who did he see in the field? I don't think those were the real animals because, okay, all of those animals are able to walk on their legs. The fox and the wolf, like a dog, they're able to walk on their rear legs, paws. The bear as well. But would they dance? Would they hold hands? I don't think so. And now what happened? There was a sound of the wolf eating him. I got too many questions. I'm not understanding. Alright, we need to play and see what happens next to understand the game. Okay, let's continue. Right now I have too many questions. That's why I didn't want to laugh at Oля and her owl in the morning. Who could be visiting us here in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. So persistent. I felt extremely unsettled from just the silly thought that our morning guests would come from the woods. I could barely hear voices coming from the front door. My mind was urging me to hide in the closet, under the table, behind the curtains, where Oля always hides.
Тоша, подойди-ка сюда.
Tosha, come here. I felt like kettlebells were tied to my feet, but still dragged them towards the hallway. I apologize, my English is not so perfect, sometimes I do some mistakes. I try my best. Let's try from the beginning. I felt like the kettlebells were tied to my feet, but still dragged them towards the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. Yeah, those are Russian police. They smelled like frost and worry. My mom always winced and grumbled the moment she saw patrol cars. Where's them bandits? At the moment, thought she looked somewhat confused.
Здравствуйте.
Hello? The senior officer, who wore a grim expression, nodded.
Тут мальчик вчера потерялся. Вовой зовут.
A boy had gone missing yesterday. His name's Vova.
Глянь, пожалуйста.
Look
Ты
at
его
this,
не видел?
please. Have you seen him? The policeman held out the photograph to me. There was a ginger boy around the age of an elementary school, pictured with the wall carpet as the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile.
Нет.
No, I haven't.
Точно?
Are you sure?
Посмотри внимательнее.
Look closely.
Где мне его видеть? Я тут никого не знаю, да и из дома-то почти не выхожу.
Where would I see him? I don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house.
А может, видел в окно?
Maybe you've seen him from the window.
Да, у тебя ведь окна на лес.
That's right. Your windows look straight at the forest, don't they? The window.
Нет, не видел.
No, I haven't seen anything.
Ясно.
I see. He sounded tired, but his stare, long and heavy, was full of suspicion. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt, which his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairway, and the cracks in the ceiling, which I haven't noticed before for some reason.
Вы, кстати, как на новом месте? Попривыкли уже?
How do you like the new place, by the way? Getting used to it?
Понемногу, только вот дочка маленькая по городу скучает.
Bit by bit. It's just our little daughter misses the city a lot.
Скучает, значит. Из местных вас никто не беспокоит?
Misses the city, huh? Have the locals been treating you well?
Все хорошо, спасибо.
Yes, everything is alright, thank you. The policeman pierced through me one more time with his brown eyes. My head started spinning.
Может, вам помочь как-то?
Can I help you somehow? I asked that in a shaky voice to look like a polite boy. And to end this unpleasant conversation sooner.
Я вот стою и думаю.
Now that I think about it,
Ты, малец, на племеша моего похож.
you look like One of my nephews, little fella.
Шустрый парнишка твоих лет, с такими же окулярами. Все книжками зачитывался, детективами.
He's a witty boy around your age, wearing the same type of goggles. Haha. Always engrossed in the reading those mystery novels.
Когда летом погостить приезжал, говорит, что в школу милиции мечтает поступить.
Told me he wants to enroll in police school when his family visited this summer.
Как я. Хотел людям помогать. Смекаешь?
Wanted to help other people, just like me, see? I felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me.
Ох, ребятушки,
You know what?
сидите-ка вы лучше дома. Не ввязывайтесь ни во что. Жизнь сейчас совсем другая пошла.
Little boys like you should stay at home. Steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. Mom interjected in a cold voice.
Мне ли не знать?
You don't say.
Ну да ладно.
Ah, well then.
Ты, Антон, в каком классе учишься?
What grade are you in, Anton?
В 6-м.
Sixth?
Друзей-то на новом месте еще не завел?
Have you made any friends here so far?
Пока нет. Я только после каникул в школу пойду.
Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break.
Тогда вот вам на всякий случай мой номер. Звоните, если узнаете что.
Then I'll leave you my number just in case. Call me if you have any new info. The policemen were gone along with their shadows, the smell of cheap cologne and the photo of smiling boy. His face still stood before my eyes. I wondered what it was like for him being all alone there. For some reason, I thought of the forest, swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? And what would my parents do if I'd gone missing? Would they cry and thrash around hysterically? Or would they accuse each other like they always do and forget about me eventually?
Мам, а Вова этот в нашем лесу заблудился?
Mom, this Vova, did he go missing in our forest?
Выходит, что так. Бедный ребенок.
Looks like it. Poor child. I looked out of the window at the road. And the police saw us drove off towards the village. We have a new word to check. UAZ. I know what this means, but for you? UAZ. A Soviet and Russian off-road, right, passenger car brand, which was produced in the Ulyanovsk car factory. The officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. I remembered all of the teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I've read this summer. Another word, Black Kitty. Black Kitty, a series of contemporary Russian, original, or translated teen mystery books. Your average boys and girls investigated all sorts of mysteries there. They looked for clues, spied on suspicious people, and after a set of amazing adventure, bam, solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made their parents very proud. I noticed a trail of policemen's footprints that led to the forest. And then it clicked in my head. Why don't I start an investigation of my own? Maybe I find that lost boy and I'll get a reward. Oля will be so happy. And not only Oля, Mom and Dad too. Maybe they'll even forget about their quarrels for a while. Maybe I'll even save us from the D word. I fantasized about buying Oля a Tamagotchi and getting a cassette player, and bunch of tapes for myself, and a whole box of Kinder Surprise. When was the last time our parents bought us anything? Bought us any toys? Last autumn, I think. My dad had lost his job at the time. There is what annoying song about it. Which song? Wait. Song about it. Okay, let's check which song was it. Accountant. A song by an all-female Soviet pop band by the name of the combination that became widely popular in the early 90s. Okay, Бухгалтер. I know that song. Бухгалтер, милый мой бухгалтер. That's the song. Okay. I had no idea what was the accountant's job like. They count money, I think. Neighbors used to envy us. But nowadays, mom and dad barely had money to afford sweets, and dad would always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Oля. Okay, sorry, by mistake. Sometimes I gave her my share too. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she was still just a pipsqueak. I couldn't wait to go out, looking for clues.
Пойду погуляю.
I'm going outside.
Ага, сейчас.
Yeah, right.
Чтобы потом милиционеры с твоей фотографией по домам ходили.
You want the police to go around with your photograph next?
Лес вон какой густой.
The forest is so thick.
А если мальчика звери дикие утащили? Или того хуже?
What if the boy got snatched up by the wild animals or something even worse? Even worse. Out through the hallway.
Да я рядом буду. В лес не пойду.
I won't go far. I'll stay away from the forest.
Что я тебе сказала? Мне дважды повторять.
Did you hear what I said, or I should repeat myself?
Лучше портфель собери или соли поиграй.
Better go pack your school bag or play with Oля. The sound of splashing water came from the kitchen. It meant that the argument was over and Mom had the last word. Okay. So far this game is really interesting. And the story is really catching. Do we think these animals that we saw at night and this poor guy that got lost are connected? I don't know. And I hope not. But that we'll find out in the next episodes. For today, that's all. Thank you for watching my video. If you like the video, subscribe on my channel, like the video and write some comments. Also, you can check out my other videos. See you tomorrow. Bye.